Up next, our next presenter is an early Bitcoin investor and pioneer, educating and presenting on how this peer-to-peer asset was built a revolution in a revolutionary technology called blockchain and cryptography. And they can shift the transfer of wealth from banks and put it in the hands and control of the people. Please welcome my friend, Joby Weeks. Thanks, buddy.
See you again, bro.
Thank you.
Aloha, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Am I on the mic? There we go. I can hear Liberty in the background. So last time I was here, we had just found out that Stephanie was pregnant, and I got to make the announcement from stage, and here we are now, a year later. Welcome back. And there's little baby Liberty in the back. And
hello, Liberty.
This is their first country. Hi, Liberty. So we just took her to all 50 states. In 42 days, making her the youngest person in the world to visit the United States, all 50 of them. She's got the Guinness Book of World Records now, and so now we got her passport, and now we're taking her around the world. And it's all because of cryptocurrency. It's all because of things like Dash. I have a masternode too. I think it's great what you're doing. I will. Thank you that was an amazing journey through Venezuela, and there's lots of countries like this that are dealing with corrupt governments and banks. And I mean, when I say we have it good, I mean, in the United States, at least, we've got, somewhat rule of law and titles to our property and courts and stuff like that. So a lot of people in America haven't really picked it up as quickly as those abroad who are seeing the corruption face to face every single day. I mean, what did you say? How many protests a day are they having down there? It's incredible. 10,000 protests a year? That's crazy. So I guess they're not putting enough fluoride in the water over there in America. Everyone's drinking all that, getting docile and everything. Anyway, so my name is Joby, and let's see here. I think my speech was supposed to be how to be a perpetual traveler on crypto or something like that. That's what I usually talk about, is being able to take this gift around the world. Last year we did 241 cities. The year before we did 211 cities. About 152 countries now. And it's a lot easier to use crypto in all these countries rather than having to go through all the currency exchanges and getting ripped off every time you do it. It's a great conversation starter. I know crypto's gone down a lot this year because it's like this every day. It's so volatile. But it is being used as a currency. I know a lot of people saying, well, it's just a speculative kind of pump and dump asset. No one's actually using it as money. That's not true. People really are. There's thousands, as you can see with the Dash website, you can see there's thousands of businesses that take the crypto. And I went around to begin with just setting people up with wallets, and after giving them a Bitcoin, here, this is cool, this is a Bitcoin, hey, this is Bitcoin, and then I gasped because I got my Bitcoins for $1, 85 cents, that's when I bought my first Bitcoin, and I gasped at how many millions of dollars I gave away. But, you have to get mass adoption. You got to get wallets set up, and that's one of the new projects that we have. If you have a pen, write this website down. It's called coldstoragecoins.com. I didn't bring a slideshow or anything. I'm kind of just off-the-cuff speaker, so when things come to my mind, write them down because I don't have the website up. But coldstoragecoins.com, I think this will help be mass adoption. We actually, before getting into crypto, I was minting gold and silver coins with the Liberty Dollar organization, a guy named Bernard von Nothaus, and I was the regional currency officer for Colorado. And that was a lot of fun, but Gresham's law, good money chases out bad money. And people weren't spending the gold and silver. They were putting it in their safe and buried it in their backyard. They were spending the fiat, the hot potato money that loses value every day. I mean, it's kind of stupid to save dollars because every day they get worth less and less and less and less. It's much smarter to save a real asset that's, inflation-proof. You can't just print gold and silver out of thin air, can you? But no one was using it. So it's a good money, but it's an awful currency. And what I was thinking about, because talking to guys like Ron Paul, which I gave Ron Paul his first Bitcoin, and a number of all these other people, the hard money, gold and silver guys, to bridge the gap, to bring the asset of gold and silver, the metals, and the crypto off the internet onto a coin. So we got a laser, we laser etch into the coin the private key with a QR code, basically, and you can load crypto to the coin itself. and spend it. So we just got a deal with a company called Blackhawk, and they sell into like 270,000 kiosks like Walgreens and Walmarts and stuff like that. So we have it right there, hanging there next to the Best Buy or the gift cards or the Outback Steakhouse gift cards. It just hangs there. And so people can actually buy the coin. Because when you set up a wallet, you got to have your private key saved somewhere. Most people are printing it and putting it in their safe, but it's on paper. And then, you saw what happened in California last week. Half the state burnt down, and people lost a lot of money because they didn't have their crypto on a fireproof coin or a flood-proof coin like the cold storage coins. So that's one of my new projects that I'm working on. Last year, I spoke a little bit about buying the goose that lays the golden egg rather than buying the eggs. Bitcoin I look at as, or crypto, any kind of crypto dash, it's the golden egg. And some people are buying it next week, they buy it next month, they're still having to buy eggs. It's smarter to buy the goose that lays the golden egg, because then once you have the goose, it just lays eggs. And that's what a Dash masternode is. That's what mining Bitcoin would be, et cetera, is where you're buying the goose that lays the golden egg. And that creates passive residual income. When your passive income is greater than your expenses, you're free. Now, nowadays, I just had to come to the grips that even in a communist country, if you're rich, you're free. In a capitalist country, if you're poor, you're not free. We have to buy our freedom. It's just one of these things. And the best way to do it is by either lowering your expenses or raising your cash flow, your passive income, the money that you make while you're sleeping. How many of you guys truly have some passive income now where you go to sleep and you wake up with more money you had when you went to bed? Great. See, and that's what's awesome, and that's how you get free. I always tell people to start out, because it is a new concept. I got it by reading the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Have you guys ever read that book, or The Cash Flow Quadrant, Rich Dad's Guide to Investing? He wrote another one called Retire Young, Retire Rich, and I read that when I was 15 or something, and by the time I was 19, I was a millionaire. It was great. I was like, and it made so much sense to me, and yet I'm still, I was at the airport, and the bartender chick was there, and I'm trying to explain to her, when your money comes in, you invest it first in an asset, and then have the assets pay for your expenses. Don't just take your money and then spend it on rent. You get your paycheck and spend it on your car payment, get your paycheck, spend it on insurance, because then it goes right out the door. First, the money comes in, then buy the asset, then have the asset pay your rent. Money comes in, buy the asset then pays your insurance, etc. That's how you get free. I think one of the best things is crypto. I think we haven't even seen how big this is going to be. JP Morgan announcing yesterday they're coming out with their own shit coin. But I mean, think about it. I mean, those guys are now all turning around and saying, well, you go to these things like Davos and the World Economic Forum, and guys like Richard Branson and others that are starting to get pretty vocal on the solutions that the blockchain can solve, get rid of all the corruption and transparency, and get rid of the paper, et cetera. So I think that it's whatever interests you in the space, go for it. I see about 1,000 different ways to make millions of dollars in this space. It's kind of just what gets you excited. We now started doing an algorithmic trading bot. That's pretty cool. I mean, it makes money. I'm not passionate about it, but it's making money, and then the money allows you to have freedom to go take your little baby to all 50 states and whatever. Which, by the way, we created a platform the other day called weeksabroad.com. And you know how people will write a list, it's called the bucket list, but I don't really like calling it the bucket list. I like calling it the live list, because it's about life and living. It's not about dying like you're kicking the bucket, right? So the live list, if you go on Weeks Abroad, you can join us on some of these adventures. We just took submarines to the bottom of the blue hole with Richard Branson and Fabian Cousteau and mapped it all out. And there's a new private island in Belize that we just put up. It's called, now it's called Ray K. I was trying to name it Trezor Island, the Trezor, like Ledger and Trezor, called Trezor Island in the crypto keys of Belize, but I got voted down on that one. So it's called Ray K. So lots of cool things, whether you got a little Indiana Jones in you. We took a group to Mount Everest Base Camp. We are going to the North Pole. I just got back from Antarctica. I was down at the South Pole climbing Mount Vincent and stuff, and doing all these things with other like-minded libertarian, anarchists, anarcho-capitalists. In fact, I brought the flag of Lieberland down there to Antarctica. A lot of Antarctica hasn't been claimed yet. And so we actually went and claimed a piece of Antarctica for Lieberland. If you know Vit and Lieberland, it was funny. But join us on some of these trips. What you do is you go there, you create a profile, kind of like Match.com, and you have your live list. Say you want to go to the Galapagos Islands, or you want to go to Argentina, or climb the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu, or something like that. So you fill out a profile like Match.com, and it links you with other people that have those same interests, that will also want to go to the Galapagos Islands and climb the Inca Trail. And so you get connected, and then you pledge for a trip. And let's say the Inca Trail, there's 10 people that need to sign up for it, to pledge for it, for the trip to automatically activate, and then it executes, and then we all go on a fun trip together. And we bring crypto along the way with us, just like you're doing. And you can load your own trips if you've got your own ideas for fun adventures. You can go there and load a trip, and then we just launched it how long ago? 2-3 months ago. It's already got over 10,000 members so far. Hopefully by this time next year, we'll have 100,000 members. Everyone's going on cool adventures and bringing crypto everywhere we go around the world, because that's what we need to do to get mass adoption, is to go get lots of people using crypto, and we need to have lots of businesses accepting crypto. That's why with these merchant solutions, I saw a bunch out in the hallway. If we can figure out a way to incentivize people to go and to spend the time to canvass their neighborhoods and go get the grocery store and the butcher and the brewery and the distillery. And that's how we did it with our currency called Mountain Hours. Before Bitcoin, I was doing the minting, and then we went into a time-back currency called Mountain Hours. And figured time is money. I watched that movie called End Time with Justin Timberlake. I don't know if you saw it, but time is money. You've all heard the saying, right? So we figured we could issue our own currency backed by time, and then we don't have to be debt slaves to the banking cartel. And it worked pretty well, because once you got the distillery and the brewery and the marijuana dispensary and the butcher, then you get the restaurants, because they could just, and then the restaurants, well, what's the restaurants take it? Well, the mechanic takes it then, and the chiropractor and the massage therapist, and all of a sudden, you got this whole economy happening, and no one's using fiat anymore. And so that's what we're working on. There's another great platform called coinpayments.net. There, you can set up an account with them. In 3 seconds, you can now take 600 different cryptocurrencies. So that's a cool solution. Let's see here, what else? How much time do I have, Mark? You know, about a half hour, 10 minutes or so? Okay, so this is the future of what we're working on. Is kind of cool. Last year I was on Jeff's show, his Dollar Vigilante show, talking about some new energy technologies. Write this website down too. It's called Clear Foundation, or the clearfoundation.nz in New Zealand, something like that. This is a cool project I just found out about. I'd love for all of you guys to know about it and be involved with it if you'd like. What they're doing is you could set up a little box about this big in your closet, and it's a node. It's got about 50 terabytes of hard drive space. And it's kind of like Coin or Filecoin, where you're donating hard storage to the network and then getting coins in return. So you're not spending so much money on electricity trying to mine and process with these proof of work coins like Bitcoin. I mean, our power bill for Bit Club is like $10 million a month. It's retarded. and we're wasting a lot of that because of heat. We set up our data centers up in Iceland and stuff because it's cold. You don't have to run the air conditioners to cool the chips, but all that heat is being blown out the roof. And so there's new technologies that we've invested in to capture that heat and recycle it back into electricity. But this Clear project is like totally, everybody in this whole room could have one of these boxes and then be mining the coin. And it creates a sharded network so that you can compete with companies like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram that are censored. I got censored again. They're deleting all my stuff off my wall, saying my community standards, I'm too controversial. But with this could create a way to really, great, okay, cool. We have a way to think about how like Google and Facebook and these guys have these huge data centers filled with servers, and that's why when you click on it, it opens the page really fast. And then you got all these competitor social networks that you click the button and it takes like 20 seconds for the page to open. And nobody likes to wait around 20 seconds for a page to open when you can do Facebook and it opens instantly, right? So how do you compete with that? You have to have this distributed internet on all these nodes with 50 terabytes in each home, that you got a sensor-proof internet now. You know, if you have one website that's hosted on 100 different servers, the government can't shut it down, right? Or 1,000 or 1,000,000 servers. So I think this is a really cool project. I met the guys at this blockchain thing in Vegas. We've been basically going from event to event to event and meeting these guys. And the Clear project is really cool. They've got a battery bank that runs your home that keeps the node up. It was cool because we actually took the battery off his home and put it in his Tesla and drove around on the battery of the Tesla and then put it back in his home. And then this little device that powers your home, so it's called the phase core, and that goes to the power of the battery bank, which runs the node, and any excess electricity that you don't consume gets sold back to the grid and creates money for you. For those that aren't constantly traveling, this is another way of making money, is generating your electricity and selling it back. Before this, I was also an investor in a solar company, and the frustration there was, well, it only works when it's sunny out. But number two is when you get solar on your roof, any excess power you sell back to the grid, it's, you know, you're getting 2 cents a kilowatt from the power company, and then they're taking that power and they're selling it to your next door neighbor for, you know, 30 cents, or Hawaii, it's 40 cents a kilowatt. And so they're collecting the spread. So we built this app that basically takes the power that you're generating, and we say, hey, why don't we'll buy that power you're generating for 10 cents instead of the power company buying it from you at 2 cents. We'll pay you 10 cents. And we go to the neighbor and say, hey, we'll sell you this electricity for 20 cents instead of buying it for the power company at 30 cents. You save 10 cents and buy it through the app. So the idea is making this app, it's called Chai, the largest power company in the world that produces no power, because we collect the spread, right? We buy the power for 10 cents, we sell it to the neighbor at 20 cents, and we collect the spread. So that is integrating now with Clear, so that you generate the power, you can sell it back through the app, you can run the battery bank, which powers your home, and then you also have this node that generates Clear tokens that now has a sharded internet, so we can create a community like Facebook. You can actually click there. It's to compete with Facebook, to get everybody to leave Facebook. I can't stand, well, I think it's actually funny, but it's annoying, and I can't really stand it because I just don't like communists, that's it. But basically, like, you know, when you're talking and like, I want a black horse, I want a black horse. Next thing I know, I'm gonna have like 16 black horse ads on my Facebook, which is annoying because I know they're listening to everything we're doing, and we don't own our data. And this would allow us to own our data if we could switch. I don't know how many of you guys have been able to get off Facebook yet. It's almost like an addiction for me. I got suspended the other day for a week, and it was actually the most productive week of my life. I was like, man, I didn't realize how much time I was wasting on Facebook. They say if you ever want to waste 3 hours of your life, spend 15 minutes on Facebook, and next thing you know, there's 3 hours later. So anyway, so those are the newest, probably coolest things that we're doing is this travel platform at weeksabroad.com, this Clear thing with the energy and the app and all that, mining coins and stuff. You guys should all get a box. They're not very expensive. They pay for themselves. And you want to know what's cool about how they launched this thing, too. For me, like watching the difference between security tokens and utility tokens and how the SEC's like hammering people and stuff. This was a really clever way of how they launched, is they took the calendar and they took all the countries of the world. There's like, 200 countries. And they put the Independence Days on each, like America's Independence Day is the 4th of July, right? So on the 4th of July, there's an extra bonus. And how they do it is you make a donation to the foundation. So it's a tax-deductible donation. You get a raffle ticket. For every Ethereum you donate, you get 10 raffle tickets, something like that. And then with the raffle ticket, you can then place those on any day of the year for one calendar year. Kind of like how EOS launched. It was a year-long. You guys are familiar with EOS? Anyway, so kind of copying that, but how it works is every day they give away 1 million tokens, these Clear tokens. You could either mine them, or this is another way you can quote-unquote buy them through a foundation, through the raffle. The raffle, then you put it on whatever day you want. So if I put it on the 4th of July, I get the base 1 million tokens that are going to be raffled off to all the ticket holders, plus an extra 300 million based on the population of the United States. 2 days from now is Nigeria's Independence Day, let's say. There's 190 million people in Nigeria. So that day, 191 million tokens will be distributed amongst the raffle ticket holders. So now they're not selling a coin. It's not an ICO. It's a very clever way to skirt the whole SEC. If you think about it, for those of you that have been watching this whole STO ICO thing, you'll think these guys are absolute geniuses, and they've already raised over $100 million. So this is a big project that I think is going to be pretty exciting. So that's that one. What else are we doing, Angelo? We got a new artwork that Angelo just put up. This guy, Michael Goddard. You'll see it. It's going to be coming in tonight, so tomorrow you'll see it. Michael Goddard is a rock star artist out of Las Vegas. I don't know if you guys have ever seen his olive drawings and stuff like that. But one night, I woke up to this dream of Clint Eastwood, like the old Wild Wild West in the ghost town, you know, and there's the crypto posse comes walking in, like Clint Eastwood would. And you got the fiat guys, you got the dollars and the euros and the yen over here, and you got Bitcoin and Ethereum and, you know, Dash and Zcash and Monero, et cetera. And they have a draw, and Bitcoin comes out and pops the dollar. He's over here, the yen's down on the ground bleeding out, you know, and the town is liberated. So we call the painting Liberty Arrives, or Liberty Has Arrived, maybe because I named my daughter Liberty, but also because that's what cryptocurrency means. It means liberty. It means freedom from these banks and these governments and being able to move money around whether people like it or not. I mean, that's my favorite part about it, is so much faster and cheaper, of course, but just the fact that I've had so many bank accounts shut down on me over the last couple of years, and just the hassle I go through. If there was no government and no banks, I wouldn't waste any time. But like literally all the time I waste has to do with government and banks all the time. So it's like, can't we simplify life and get this show on the road? So that's the mission I'm on, is getting the show on the road and getting people involved in things like Clear and things like cold storage coins and things like setting up Dash masternodes. Come mine Bitcoin with us or trade Bitcoin with us or other cryptos. We're also doing Monero and Zcash and GPU stuff as well. New technology is always coming out. That's really cool. We've got a number of different projects. So if anybody is an active investor, we've got some really cool stuff that we've been funding that we'd love to have you piggyback on. In fact, here in Acapulco, for those of you that want to spend more time down here, we just bought a house here with Bitcoin. And we're going to create a membership program, which Stephanie has in the background. I think she might have already put it up or not. But how it worked is we tried this beta in Breckenridge. A couple of years ago, we had a ski villa. And the government, of course, wanted to tax us 10% of all of our transactions because we had it on VRBO and Airbnb and all this. And they sent in a secret shopper one day, and they booked our house. And then they ran out the door, and next day I got a letter from this town saying that they were going to put a lien on the property and blah, 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 government, right? They went like special insurance and all this crap. So I was like, well, why don't we create a membership club where everybody just pays $100 a month to be a member? We called it the Entrepreneur Retreat Network, and then we changed the name to BORN, the Business Owner Retreat Network, because the idea is joint ventures are born here, friendships are born here, new ideas are born here. And what happens is we had about 200 members sign up, and everybody was paying $100 a month. The mortgage was $6,000 a month. And then, it was about $3,000 a month for the maids and stuff. So we had, snowplow guy come in and all that stuff. So call it $10,000 a month was our expenses. But with 200 people paying $100 a month, they could use it up to a week a month. You could have one of the rooms for up to a week a month. It was great. We had the house constantly filled with awesome entrepreneurs and doing really fun and exciting stuff. And it's just interesting, people that are traveling around, freedom thinking type people. Everybody's got a great story. So we're going to do it again here in Mexico. So we got a house here with 13 bedrooms, and we're going to just do the same thing. Anybody that's a libertarian, that's into entrepreneur stuff, crypto, whatever, we're going to charge $100 a month, and you can use the house up to a week a month. And it's right on the cliffs, beautiful view of the ocean, and 5-minute walk to the beach, etc. So if you find me, I can send you pictures and all that kind of stuff. And if you guys are around for a while, you guys can come over and check it out if you'd like. I don't know what day we're going to have some people over, but I'm sure one of these days we will. And it'll be great to have you guys be a part of it if you'd like. And the goal would be to put these things all over the world. So people don't have to, it's like a smart way of kind of living without being stuck at hotels, because that gets expensive, number one. I mean, when we first started this whole travel stuff, we were like backpacking in tents, and then we made a little bit more money, and then we could start affording hostels, right? We'd share bunk beds with 20 people in a bunk bed. I remember in Switzerland, we slept in the largest bunk bed in the world, had 60 people in one bunk bed, somewhere in Switzerland, Interlaken or something. And then, you make a little bit more money, and then you can start staying at hotels and all this kind of stuff, and next thing you know, you're doing expeditions to the North Pole or whatever. But I don't really like that, because at like hotels and stuff, you don't get to meet as many interesting people as you would at a hostel. And so I wanted to create like these huge mansions all over the world where all of us can go from places, kind of like Liberland's doing with the Liberland embassies and stuff, right? But do it with our own little entrepreneur crew of anarchists. And then, you got a house in Miami, you got one in London, you got one in New York, you got one in Mexico, you got, one in the slopes to go skiing in Colorado. And then you just pay a flat monthly fee and you can live in any of them. Wouldn't that be fun? I mean, how many guys like that idea? So that's what I'm also working on. As you can tell, I'm a little ADD, so I'm like, I'm gonna do this, I'll go do this, I'll go do this. Squirrel. Telling my wife's like, wait a second, what do you want to do first? Then second, then third. It was great. To marry her is like, she had every 15 minutes of the day, every 15 minutes was like blocked out for this. I haven't kept a calendar in a while. So anyways, it's interesting how opposites attract. And I appreciate your patience, Stephanie. It was funny because when I went to the South Pole, I couldn't sneak Liberty in. They were like, no, she has to be at 16 years old and stuff. And I was like, oh, come on. I was trying to figure out all these different ways of getting her to Antarctica. And unfortunately, I couldn't. And so then Stephanie couldn't. So unfortunately, she had to be changing diapers and watching the baby for the last month when I lived in a tent in Antarctica. But it was cool. I got to do Bitcoin transactions down there too. It's amazing. I mean, in the middle of the ocean, we could do Bitcoin transactions. It's become easier and easier and easier to travel and bring this around, and everybody's getting more and more connected. So I think the future is bright, and I say stay focused on the mission at hand. When you see these videos like the Venezuela video that we just watched, I mean, I almost cried in the back. I'm like, man, it's so wrong that these governments just keep stealing the wealth of the people, printing all this money and just hyperinflation. It's theft, it's evil, it's totally wrong. And just knowing that we have that solution, it's an amazing gift, and it can really change people's lives and for the better. So that's why I'm in it, and I appreciate you guys listening to me. So God bless you. Say hi afterwards. You can contact me, Joby Weeks, at Gmail or Facebook, as long as they don't delete me. Joby Weeks at Facebook, whatever. So nice to meet you guys.
Anarchapulco, it's so hype, I'm trying to tell ya. This the event of the year and best vacation ever. Ron Potter, Jeffrey Tucker, just to name a few. Get your tickets, you don't wanna miss it. You should roll through. Talking politics to health and self-improvement to investing. So many things, not one thing. Learn how to live life unchained, yeah. 4 days vibing on the beach, time to connect. All about growth, way more than a conference. This is Anarchapulco, yeah. Let's go.
You ain't seen nothing yet.